egotistical as it is.
I guarantee
I love
that's not on
McMahon,
his
too.
radar.
Well, another thing too is I don't know if I've talked about it on air, but
I think Trump and Vince McMahon need to become partners. That would be interesting.
they kind of already are. His McMahon's wife is in
Trump's cabinet.
Is in the cabinet. The one thing I would say about it is Mark Cuban was on. I probably may have talked about it on the show already. Mark Cuban was on another podcast I listen to, and he talked about another way the XFL could actually make it would be to sell contracts to the NFL. So, like, if the NFL comes and scouts these guys,
it's their Euro League.
Yeah, so it would be the way of the way the MLS makes money off of Premier League and stuff like that, because they'll pay Sporting or they'll pay whoever X amount of dollars to buy the contract of that young guy that's over here.
Well, the NFL does not have a C League.
Yeah, I would say and
it does not have.
Cuban thinks the price tag should be about per player. If you could do anywhere like $750,000 to purchase a contract,
and I think maybe eventually they could be affiliated with the NFL as like their minor league system.
You got to show them that you can stay afloat.
But yeah, you gotta, and Vince McMahon has put the money into this thing to make it last. I mean, what was it you telling me they could go for 3 years and not turn a profit?
So McMahon has come out and said he's willing to go 3 years, make $0, and then go into year 4 saying, I want to cash flow a little bit. Because McMahon, from when he started, when was last 01 was the last
yeah,
time?
Yeah, like 01.
Yeah. Between back 01 and what he is now, I mean, he's got about an extra $1 billion now.
Well, I've been doing this 10 years and I still haven't made a profit. Truthfully, I mean, my profit is I take part of my money and make my house payment.
Right.
I haven't given myself a raise, a salary, or anything. So if you look at my bottom line, it's tough in a new business to show a profit. And the bigger you are, the harder it is.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the XFL and look at ratings already compared to the league that was trying to do what the XFL is doing now in the AAF. I mean, they've doubled their ratings in the first 2 weeks, back-to-back weeks. Now, there was a little bit of decline to week 2 because a lot of people were just like, okay, well, it's just football. It's new. Let's check it out in week 1, but it's still just football. But only having a 3% viewership decrease from week 1 to week 2, whereas last year in the AAF, you started out with only like 18% viewership and you dropped below 10%. Yes, you're not going to succeed there. But this week right here, if they can stay at about that 27 at the XFL, I think the league will be safe this season and going forward.
How long will Disney give them on the TV contract? Because
that's another thing that is huge for the XFL is having that TV contract with Fox and ESPN.
Yeah.
Oh, they got both? Oh, they have both.
Yeah, because they have a game every week that's on ABC,
Disney,
ESPN.
If Disney were to drop them, they're good with Fox.
They have a contract with Fox.
If one drops, the other's dropping.
Well, see, I don't think so. I think
I don't know if Fox will leave if Disney leaves.
I doubt it because
if they're not making money, they would. And the only reason Disney would leave is because they're not making money.
Well, they got Raw. See, I think another thing is too is McMahon's relationship with Fox is really good because
SmackDown.
McMahon's got SmackDown, and he's got Monday Night Raw's not Fox.
No.
SmackDown is, and so
do you spend time with your child? You
do what?
No, I was joking.
I still watch. I watched NXT.
I said, do you spend time with your child? Oh, that's how you spend time with your child.
That's how it's me. Me and him watch NXT Takeover, and we recreate the matches on the couch, and he beats me every time.
But I mean, like you guys are saying, you're looking at the partnerships that Vince McMahon has.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to start seeing these start rolling into one revenue. And right now it's Vince McMahon. But you're going to start seeing the crossover, with his wrestling and with the XFL. The TV deals are endless right now when you think about it. I mean, wrestling's been around forever. It's gone through its lows. It's gone through its highs. It's just a roller coaster ride. And I think the XFL could do the same thing. But once they start pulling the same direction, with Vince McMahon,
and I think
I don't know if they're going to
fail. One mistake he made the first time was he tried to combine it from the get-go.
Yeah.
The wrestling and the football.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
as far as
now
this
it's
having,
football and wrestling.
This is almost two separate
If
deals.
The Rock was part of it now, it wouldn't make
Well,
it.
I mean, but The Rock's not really part of wrestling now.
No, I actually think if The Rock shows up now, it actually legitimizes
it does.
Because
Absolutely.
Rock's a movie star, and he did the Super Bowl intros. And
He's the
everything,
biggest
so.
star.
There were
in
just
Hollywood.
week one of the old XFL just boom threw all kinds of red flags up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it did.
That's why there's a 30 for 30 on it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have. I mean, it was
But this
because
new
of
one is. I'm telling
Way
you,
better.
I got a good
It's
feeling
not the
about
same.
it.
Here's-
Another thing is too. I think eventually what will happen is McMahon will to keep it going and something else. He'll end up doing kind of a cash grab, and he'll probably sell a minority stake to somebody.
Yeah.
And that'll be the boost in cash. Boom, because he.
You know who that's going to be, right?
Do what?
You know who that's going to be, right?
Who?
It's going to be the league. It's going to be the league. It's going to be the league.
Oh.
Hey, this is what we're going to do because just like the NBA created the G League for those basketball players that don't want to go to college or can't get into the big schools, we're going to turn this into our minor league system. We get to watch you in our off time going through OTAs, so they get to be invited to OTAs. They get to be invited to all the rookie camps while the XFL is going on. So they get hands-on, eyes-on look at you.
Okay, so take that a little bit further into the business thought. Who's supporting those G teams? The NBA.
Yeah, the league. That's what I'm talking about. The NFL. If once somebody buys in, it'll be the NFL, and that's what the AAF's goal was. They had to show that they had a product enough that they could be the minor leagues, and the NFL just wasn't interested.
And if you look, all the coaches in the XFL are either ex-NFL assistants or big-time college head coaches that had opportunity. Like Bob Stoops, he could have went to the NFL if he wanted to numerous times, but he chose to stay at Oklahoma. So, if you look at the other head coaches around the league, I don't have their names on top of my head, but that they're those guys that can run an NFL caliber system team to get those guys ready. So I think eventually, whereas right now it's a lot of players that are kind of on their way down, it'll be those players on the way up, like you said, that can't get into a big-time SEC school. Okay, go play here for 3 years for the New York Guardians, and then we'll see what happens.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, because it's so hard. It's so hard in football to go to a junior college or anything. I mean, you can go to North Dakota State.
Missouri doesn't even have junior college football.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, you can go to, like,
does.
North Dakota State and get recognized at a humongous Division II school, low D1, whatever you want to call them now. But it's almost impossible to go anything lower than that in football and go to the league. That's why those players are so far few and in between.
Yeah.
I mean, this league, if the NFL likes it and they buy into it, they buy stock into it, they're now the second revenue outside of Vince McMahon. Hey, you go play 2 years here, you'll be draft eligible.
Well, and
So you're 20 years old, just like any other college football.
And it's not even draft eligible, really. It's okay. We buy the contract out, and that's where I was going with that. Is they should right now at this point want to have a big turnover from the XFL to the NFL because just like the T-Bones, if a major league team comes in and wants one of their players, they got to pay the T-Bones so much money to buy that contract out. So therefore, now you're making money as a team from the players in their contract, and you're also helping their players become more successful. So I think you want players that are going to move on pretty quickly in this second year.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, and so that's going to go
here's
to
the
see
thing
how
that makes
fast they can
football
impress
so hard.
the XFL.
Is they play once a week, and they only have 5 to the NFL you have 9 home games.
8.
Eight. Baseball, you can play 6 days a week. Basketball, you can play 3 days a week. Hockey, football is the toughest one because you just don't get that many home dates to get ticket sales. That's the toughest part. Yeah. And if you can make it past that,
revenue from the TV contracts. But real quick, I want to mention Jamie over at Simply Stamped on Facebook. You can look her up, Simply Stamped. And she sent us some keychains this week. I will post pictures of those on our social media. I actually haven't even shown you the pictures yet. I just got them in the mail.
I thought you sent me one.
Oh, maybe I did.
Or you sent me maybe it was something that. Yeah, I think I got.
Maybe I don't know. But anyway, they look really good. She sent us some keychains, so she can do keychains. She can do what else did I say? Movie posters, shirts,
decals on cars.
Yeah, car decals, anything like that. Any of your printing needs, check with her. You know, she also does like earrings. So if you're looking to buy some earrings for your lady and you want to put your picture in there or any picture, anything, you just send her a photo and she can make that into an item for you. So Simply Stamped on Facebook is the best place to find her. I'll post pictures of those keychains and things later on all of our social media so you guys can check it out. But so Gritty, you're a big racing guy. The Daytona 500 was this weekend. You know, Austin and I are not as much into that.
Actually, it wasn't quite this weekend because the rain.
Sunday into Monday. So why don't you talk a little bit about some of the storylines and stuff from the Daytona 500?
I mean, the storyline at the end of the day was Ryan Newman's health.
Yeah.
You know, I've followed it since it happened. You know, I obviously watched the race, watched the start of it Sunday. The rain killed it, and then you watched it again on Monday. But I mean, just the safety, you know, that they put into these cars. I mean, you have roll cages that are tested at 15,000 pounds of force. You know, so yes, those drivers, they do feel invincible, but in the back of their mind, you always have that fear of injury. I mean, you look back 20 years ago, at 19 years ago, yesterday was the death of Dale Earnhardt, and it was kind of similar. Last lap wreck. Didn't really look anything out of the ordinary, but you're talking about 19 years ago versus now. It would have taken a lot less to definitely die in a car back then. Which, if that wreck that happened with Ryan Newman happened 19 years ago, it was a no-doubter.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, he gets spun. You know, you're talking about going 205 miles an hour. These dudes are really getting after it. You're going into the last quarter mile of the race, half mile of the race at Daytona for the Daytona 500, biggest race of the year. And you turn in front of the field, and that's what happens. You know, you hit the Jersey barrier, you know, the inside wall, and they have give now, thanks to Dale Earnhardt.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, when you go upside down in front of a field that's going 205 miles an hour and everybody is together because restrictor plate racing, I mean, stuff like that's going to happen. You get hit going 205 miles an hour on your door side, your driver's side door, and it was bad, man. It was scary from the beginning. You know, I didn't see the race or the wreck when it happened because I was watching the finish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I mean, he was in the air for a good 800 feet. You know, and at that point he's still going 170 miles an hour in the air, so he makes the impact. It's almost a quarter mile to the start of turn one, and he slid on his hood all the way to turn one, just to tell you how fast he's going. You know, you're not on wheels anymore, you're on your hood. And it was scary. I mean, literally, I thought he had died, you know, because commentators not talking about it, cameras not showing, they stopped showing the car, you know. And then when the news finally came out, the commentator said, Ryan Newman has been taken, you know, to an area hospital for treatment. That is all that we can give you right now. Not that that's all we have. That is all that we're going to give you right now. You know, and that just, it scares you. You know, but congratulations to Denny Hamlin, 3-time Daytona 500 winner. Not a NASCAR champion yet, but you're winning the biggest race of the year 3 times.
Yeah,
I think you know how to work your way around Daytona. So, but they're going to Vegas, starting their West Coast swing this week. So, but prayers to Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman was released from the hospital today. You know, prayers, blessings to him and his family. It's definitely been scary. I mean, just the outpouring. You know, Ryan Newman's a huge name. Obviously, he's not Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's not, you know, Jimmy Johnson. He's not Jeff Gordon. But it shows you that even though you're competing every week against people that you may hate, you're still a family. And that's just the persona in sports. You know, it's always a family.
I think any big time competitor, you know, in any sport, never wants to see their competition get hurt, or injured. And I think that was the same way, you know, with that wreck. And I'm just glad that Newman has been released from the hospital. You showed it to me a few minutes before we went on air, and it was the first time I had seen it.
And that was in slow motion.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. But, I'm just, like I said, I'm glad that he is alive. He's been released from the hospital. Hopefully, I'm sure he's going to have some lasting effects and things. But, the good thing is he's been released from the hospital. He's alive. So everything else he can heal.
And I think it's just crazy. Like we talk about sports, how you take